Hey guys, Gio here. Just going live. Oh, I need to wear my headphones. Let me see this. Okay, we're live. I think we're live. Oh, okay, so we're not going to do Instagram live. I have to update my Instagram. All right, well, we're live here on Zoom, I believe.
So we're not doing Instagram.
Yeah, well, we'll catch up on Instagram in a second because I got to update my Instagram. So,
Isn't that always the case?
well, it's always the case. So, welcome everyone who's watching us live here. I'm going to try to simultaneously update my Instagram. I'm Gio. You guys don't recognize me. I'm sure you do if you're following me. This is Eve. Eve is one of our breathwork facilitators. Welcome, Eve.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Um, all my settings are messed up. Test one, two. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, Eve. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about like I want. Well, this whole live series we're doing is just to introduce some of the breathwork facilitators like yourself. But more than that, I just want to tell a bit of the story because there's so many different people from different walks of life that have come into breathwork, and things have changed or whatever. Tell me about a bit about what you were doing before you got into breathwork and what your life was like and how you found out about breathwork. Let's start there.
Okay. So born and raised in France, moved to Canada, used to work in marketing, stopped working in marketing to have my kids. Um, and in motherhood, well, the first few years are somewhat challenging sometimes. And I was looking for something. I was like, there's got to be something more. There's got to be something like a better way of going about things. And I have a rather extreme personality, so I went too cold. Um, and through my cold journey, I figured out that breathing is actually what gets you through
Hmm.
uh, the cold. And so I was like, well, if it's getting me through the cold, it's got to be able to get me through anything, right? So then I got onto my breathing journey, and then I joined your certification. And since then, quit. I used to work through all of that in my like the family business. My husband and my father-in-law have a business. I'm still there a little bit, but I'm opening a studio. Um, with sauna, cold breath work, um, and things like that. And so I'm going to do
Nice.
that every day, and it's going to be brilliant. And for now, I'm doing classes here and there, and it's just beautiful, like being on people's journey and being able to witness um, whatever is going on with them and the release they have sometimes. And it's hard. Everybody is different. Um, but you know what I found? It's funny because I find like because I'm facilitating it so much, I'm not doing it so much myself. So I'm
Yeah, that's a
falling
problem
off the
all of us
bandwagon.
facilitator stuff. You know what? I just got the Instagram going. So do you want to join on Instagram?
Yeah.
Hey guys, for those just joining on Instagram, I'm interviewing Eve today. She's one of our facilitators, and she was just telling us a bit about her backstory, how she um, left her business and her work, and then she became a mom. Oh,
So
delete
it's my
this. There
wrong.
we
It's the
go.
wrong Instagram. Hold on.
And so she got into breath work through the cold, which a lot of us found it through cold. I initially found breath work through cold as well, through Wim Hof. And it's interesting how we get kind of pulled from different kind of places, but most people that I meet that have had a transformation in their life, um, here we go, had a transformation in their life, there's usually something that moves them, like a big change or a shift or a pain moment, that gets them to look at things a little bit differently. So you might have to turn the volume down on your phone.
Down the phone.
Yeah, if you have the earphones, that'd be the best. But if not, we'll just keep going.
Okay.
So, anyways, so here's Eve. She was just telling us a bit about her journey. And so Eve, so tell me, so like, so you decided, you're doing the breath work, you're doing the cold, you kind of found out about me, and then what happened next? You signed up for the training. You did the online one. I'm pretty sure you did the online
Yes,
one,
I
correct?
did online.
And what was that like? Like, what was your expectations coming in? And
So
sometimes
I
you come
had
to a new
no idea,
training.
right? I had no idea what it would be. I knew it was good. Many people told me it was good, so I was like, okay, I'm going for it. And I really liked it. Like the 2 days intense were more than I thought it would be. So it was a bit of a juggle with my kids at home. I don't think I was as prepared to be focused for 2 full days. Um, but it was really good and so much good information. But what I loved, because I've done other trainings since, like I've done other things since, and what I really love is like the continuous after and the weekly and the practice and all of that. Like I don't think I would have felt confident or prepared enough to go out in the world after the 2 days. So it was so good to have like, what was it, 6 weeks? What was
Six
it?
weeks of calls plus, your 10 training sessions. And,
Yeah. And
for me, like,
that was really critical. That was really,
yeah, because like something like breath work, it's all about the learning and the experience. Like these things are hard to explain. It's like trying to explain someone what like a plant medicine journey is going to be like, or these things that you kind of just have to experience, or like like for you, like try to explain to someone who's never give birth what that experience is like. You can tell them they can read as much books, but until you do it, then you really understand what it feels like, what the experience is like. And I feel like facilitating breath work is the same because it's such an incredible experience the way you kind of like tap into the energy of the group and um how things kind of shift and you have these really interesting experiences, but you got to be present there. And a lot of things we teach, um it's one thing to hear them in the trainings, the other thing to start experiencing them when you start doing it. So yeah, so we do 6 weeks of calls afterwards, and then we of course let people do like practice with their friends and families. So tell me a bit about your first few experiences when you like
so like, if I'm being honest, when you told us in the weekly, like you're gonna have to meet one-on-one with somebody else from the group and you're gonna have to do it, I was like, oh no, like I'm not doing this. Like I don't want to. Right? Because you get self-conscious and you're like, well, I don't know how I'm gonna do, but it turns out like it's so good because we're all going through it. So like those are the best people to practice with, right? Because they're in the
right.
trenches with you anyway. Um, and I don't know, the first so then you have the 10 practice sessions, right? Like to do with real life people outside of the practice group. And it was so good. The first one felt so good. At first I was, you're nervous and whatever, but the second you get into it and you have to prepare yourself and you have to breathe yourself and just let go of it all and be in the moment. And it was just so brilliant. And there was like people sobbing and crying. Some were like very loud, and um it was fun. And it's funny, I find that it's always the ones that are like the most fidgety that I'm like, oh, they're not into it. Like, you get into your head and you're like, oh, they're not into it, they're gonna hate it, whatever. And then at the end they're the ones that are like, it was so good, it was
Yeah.
so good, I don't know what it did, but it was so good. um and it's, yeah, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you are. But I really enjoy it.
And so tell me a bit about, so how long has it been since you got your certification now? I hard for me to keep track of which.
What, I think January.
This January you finished. Okay.
Yes.
So
So I've done now quite a few sessions. Like I would say I have one every other week for now until I have my own space,
mhm.
and I'll have them more often. And it's funny, you've got the people that keep coming back, right? And then you have new people, and then they come back and they're like, oh no, I need to tell my friends. So I'm doing a session Monday, and there's this lady that's bringing three of her friends because she's like, no, they need to come.
Right. We get that a lot, and when people have that really true experience, like a breathwork experience, it kind of hits them on a different level where they have this awareness and they also want to share it with people. They want other people to experience that similar experience. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And even in the beginning, there was sometimes when I was doing it and like one people would register for class and I would still do it anyways. And sometimes that one person comes in and they're like become your biggest fan and ambassador, brings everyone into your classes.
Yeah.
Um, so you've only been out in the real world in regards to breathwork for a few months now. What kind of changes have you noticed in yourself, in your community, in opportunities that have come, people you've met? Like, what have you started to see that's shifted since you become a facilitator?
So it's funny because there's one lady that came once with her mom, and I was super self-conscious because they're both from India, and I've practiced yoga and breath for like they're 50 and 70, so for a very long time, and I was like, oh, I hope I do a good job. And they both loved it, and so now she wants to partner with me. She's getting me to come do a speech and a talk and a mini session at one of their Hindu Sunday school stuff. Like there's just, the doors just keep opening. The more you're open to it and the more you put yourself out there and you're true to yourself when you do it, um the doors just keep opening. It's just beautiful. And I'm doing another one. I'm doing a camp. I did a birthday party for someone. She was like, she came to one of my sessions and she was like, listen, this is life changing. This is what I want for my birthday. So I did a birthday party and she had so many of her friends and we just had a breath work and then some of them did cold plunge. And it's funny because in that setting, some of the people were like, not for me, you could tell. But some loved it and they came back after. It's just,
Yeah, it's
being
amazing.
open and letting things flow and it just comes.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing way to connect with people. Like a lot of people have shared, like once they became a facilitator, they connected with their family, their friends in a much deeper way. Like something happens when you kind of go into that breathwork space, and
Yeah. You and my
a lot,
husband.
a lot of your barriers kind of drop, and then you kind of connect in a different way, and you kind of become a little more vulnerable, and you share from a different place.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of the most amazing things happen. You were just saying, even with your husband, your relationship has shifted a bit.
Yeah. Because I did one of my practice sessions was with him. He didn't know what he signed up for, but he was like, I'll support you and I'll do one. And we just connected on such a different level after that session. And we've been able to keep and bring that back. And, it's like there's ups and downs and there's ebbs and flows. But when things get trickier, like we will sit down and be like, okay, let's just breathe, even for 5 minutes together, right? Like 5 minutes of breath will shift so much. And I don't think that if I hadn't done that training, we would have had that connection, because I don't think I had the complete awareness that 5 minutes of breathing can be relationship altering. And even
Yeah,
with my kids, like, because now they see me, right? Because I practice at home, I pick my songs. So there's a whole different energy also in my home, because it's much more chill music. Like it's a different type of music. And so they know, and they move through the music and they see me practice the breathing when I'm putting my playlist together. And so now they'll sit and they'll breathe on their own. And it's really neat. It's really neat.
yeah, I noticed that too with my kids because they're sponges, right? They're always looking and watching what mom and dad are doing, and like what kind of example do you set? And like doing something like this, it's a great way to kind of like get them interested or curious about, facilitating in the process and stuff like that.
And like in the evening, like they're still little, so they like me being home, and they get upset if I'm not here. But if I tell them I'm going to do a breathwork class, for some reason they're like, okay. It's really funny.
Go do it,
I
mom.
guess my energy with it is different, so they feel it, right?
Amazing. Um, so just a couple more questions. What would you say to someone who's considering like taking the training but is not sure, or someone who's kind of like stuck right now and is looking for something different? Like, what would you say? Like, what are some of the things that kind of went through your mind when you're going through the process of making that decision?
Um, well, like, first of all, it wouldn't hurt, right? Like there's you got nothing to lose. Um, and it's just such a beautiful, even if you don't do anything with it after, and I highly doubt that if you go through the training you won't do anything with it after, because it's something you have to share. But even if you don't, just for yourself, um it's just a beautiful skill to have and share with the world. There's so much power, and it's so simple. Like it's really, right? Like I was like, oh my God, am I gonna know? Am I not? It's just so natural and so simple, and you get it very quickly. There's nothing to lose. You can only gain, and just share that gift with the world is so precious. It's such a precious thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. And then I guess for people that want to connect with you, where are you located again?
I'm in
You're
Oakville, Ontario.
Oakville, and you're opening up a studio in Oakville.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about that and your plans and how breathwork kind of plays into it.
So I'm hoping to be open in 3 weeks. I'm putting that out there in the universe. 3 weeks, right? And I'm gonna have a sauna, an infrared sauna, and cold tubs. And then upstairs there's a loft where I'm gonna have breath work. And so I'm gonna do group breath work, but I'm also gonna have one-on-one. Like he can come and spend an hour and a half with me and do breath, sauna, cold. and we can have that on repeat, or you can come once. There's going to be different packages available. And the hope is that it's a healing place. There's also a big area with a massive couch. Like I want people to be able to come and chill and journal after if they feel like they need to. I want that to be a safe space. And I'm here to sit in the discomfort with people, right? Like when you breathe, like sometimes you get physically weird, like uncomfortable, or like emotions can come up. And in the heat, same, in the cold, same. My space is to sit with people in the discomfort and walk them through it. So
Yeah, there's always that process as you're moving through some of the things that you're holding on to. It can get uncomfortable for a bit.
yeah,
But that's why it's called work, breath work. You kind of like move yourself through that. And a lot of times the insights will come and, you
that's
start
what I
seeing.
always tell people. Like they come, I'm like, you're not here to relax. Like, let's be clear. Yeah, I need you to work. Like
There'll be
if
time for relaxing at the end, but if you put the work in, you get to the other side and it's just like
yeah.
this liberating feeling, which is so
I have a
incredible.
couple people that told me like I wasn't expecting to work that hard. And they
Right.
were happy they did, but they were like, no joke, like this is work.
The fear I have sometimes is not like if people are not going to like it, it's if they're not going to put themselves enough into it to have an opportunity to have the experience. And that's
Yeah.
kind of why as facilitators we want to like, hey, you showed up here now, let's just do the work and see what happens.
Yeah.
Those who have had the experience that have got through to their side, like they know, and that's why they show up, because okay, like I'm committing to this. And I'll even get people to raise their hand. Okay, who's here tonight that's going to commit to going all in at least for this next hour, to
Yeah.
really see where they can go. And usually when I get everyone to raise their hand and then they're committed, I'll remind them halfway through, okay guys, remember you committed, let's go, let's do this.
Yeah.
um, and I find it's always everyone gets what they need, whether they get a really deep profound experience or just get some relaxation or whatever
That's
it
what I was
is.
gonna say. I've
It's
had to
always
let
different.
go,
Yeah,
let go of that. Like they show up how they want to show up, and it's not
it's not our
on
job.
me, right? And it's not mine to take on. And I'm like, listen, like
That's one
I'm
of the
giving
most
you the opportunity, whether you take it or not is up to you. And
right.
some like, yeah, like just like you said, some well just gonna relax for an hour, and maybe their life is really hectic, and that's what they need in that moment, right? And it's
It's
like,
perfect.
fine,
Yeah, so
yeah.
perfect. Okay, so how can people get in touch with you? So do you have like your Instagram is a way they can reach out? Is there like a website you have, anything like that, Eve?
Working on the website. Uh, it's hard, like putting all the content, like,
I know,
I have
I
all this
know.
stuff, but it's like putting it into words is like makes sense for people. So I'm working on that. But yes, Experience the Valley is the Instagram. I have an email, hello@experiencethevalley.com. And yeah, reach out in the DMs in an email, and I'll be more than happy to have you. Um,
If you're in the Toronto or Oakville area, please connect with Eve. Check out a new
yes,
spot. It's going to open in 3 weeks or so. We're
yeah,
crossing our fingers, but
yes,
whenever it's open, it'll be the perfect timing for it, I'm sure.
yeah.
So just wanted to really thank you, Eve, for coming on and spend this time with us so we can share a bit about your story. And hopefully if anyone's watching and you're curious about becoming a facilitator, just send us a DM. If you have any questions at all, we can hop on a call to answer them, or maybe through Instagram, or just check out our website, elementalrhythm.com.
And I'll just say one last thing is
Hmm.
that it's very accessible. You do an amazing job at making it accessible for everybody. You're very down to earth, and like you're in there with all of us. Like it's not like you're like this grand guru talking
Not.
down type thing, right? Like although I feel like you are, but you don't portray yourself as this. And it's like it's just so accessible and so welcoming and beautifully done. It's really accessible to anyone.
Thank you so much, Eve. That really means a lot. I appreciate that. So thank you, and please keep me posted when the place is open. I'd love to come and check
I
it out.
will.
Maybe
I know. I'll
join one
have
of
you
your
for a visit.
classes. Okay, awesome. Okay,
Okay.
thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, please send us a message, and we'll see you guys soon. We're gonna be doing more of these. So thanks, Eve. Bye,
Okay.
everyone. Have a
Bye.
great day.
You too.